Well, yeah, let's handle Top Rank real quick. And I didn't see the whole card, just the main event.
Yeah.
Who was on the undercard?
Man, well, the main event really of the fight wound up being the co-main event. Brian Norman knocking out Giovanni Santillan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Giovanni got knocked out?
He did.
I gotta see that.
It was a hell of a fight.
And what's the other name?
It's actually worth you going, but it was a hell of a fight.
What's the name?
Brian Norman Jr.
Brian Norman, is he
from Atlanta?
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
sparred some big names like Bud in the past.
Wow. I know him.
He can punch.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I didn't know if he was gonna beat Santillan. I actually probably gave an edge to Santillan because Brian fought a little bit like an underachiever his last couple fights. I didn't question that he had better power than Santillan and more talent than Santillan. But someone like Santillan, he's banking on beating you with his determination, his will, and his conditioning.
Yeah.
And the problem for Santillan is Brian brought those things to the table as well.
Yeah.
And then he's the more talented fighter.
Man, listen, after I saw him beat Alexis Rocha, I said he's a fight away from being my dark horse in that division. So I'm as you can see, I'm a little surprised, and I'm definitely gonna go back and check that one out.
Well, styles make fights, and Santillan's problem is he's trying to grind down a puncher. Yeah. So he's always in the line of fire with the bigger puncher, Norman. And I think Brian Norman, he liked that. I think you'd be better served against Brian Norman boxing him than trying to take it to him and grind him down. He's got that strong Atlanta, Georgia country strength.
Yeah.
And country strong.
And so now he and Santillan was 32-0 fighting in his hometown of Sandy. This is supposed to be his night.
Yeah.
And Brian said after the fight, I thrive off negativity.
Yeah.
I love going to someone's hometown and taking their SHIT.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It was a breakout performance, and now he's a major player at welterweight.
Yeah.
You know, he grabbed one of Bud's 4 vacant belts. It's an interim, but it's gonna be the full title. Bud's not coming back down to 47.
No.
So big. That was really the fighter of the night. And then I guess in the main event, Navarrete and Berinchyk, you saw it.
Yeah.
So
that one, I kind of same. Anytime I listen to Tim, I'm like, yeah, that kid is on point. Like
I text Shawn and said, "This is a nasty fight."
Yeah. He used the word nasty. Tim used the word ugly. I'm not really used to using the word nasty, so I went with ugly. It was an ugly fight. I felt like this was like a mirroring. These guys have the same style, and it was like no one could get off on the other the entirety of the fight.
I hate when Shawn always says this, but that was one of them things where matchmakers, what are you doing? You know, that's all kept replaying my mind. Shawn Porter, matchmakers.
Talking about the matchmakers.
Because I'm like, this is terrible, bro.
Yeah.
What'd you see in the arena?
Well, you know, to defend my guys Brad and Bruce a little bit, the matchmakers, Berinchyk is ranked atop the WBO, and Navarrete kind of was eating himself out of the division, so they matched him with a guy they thought he could beat to get his 4th belt in the 4th weight class, which would have made him, although everyone else who accomplished it, they unified, they won another belt besides just the WBO, but he would have joined Morales, Canelo, Juan Manuel Marquez, Jorge Arce as the only guys from Mexico to win four division belts, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And man, that fight was so much more about just Navarrete isn't cut out to be weighing in at 135. He's just like I get it. He's never been the fastest guy, but he was so much more sluggish at 35 and was so much slower at 35. When he pulled the trigger, it was just sluggish is the word to define it. And he has to get back down to 130. It was like night and day compared to I was there in Arizona when he beat Valdez last year.
Yeah.
Night and day. Night and day. He is a really good fighter who's got to get back to the weights that he's optimal at. You know,
so you think that 130 is where he needs to be?
Absolutely.
Is it kind of like Mikey Garcia?
Yes.
Kind of like Mikey.
And like, well, I always getting up to 47 too quick, and it actually reminded me like he's kind of this era. He's not as great as.
By the way, I'm not comparing Mikey and Navarrete.
Because Mike
truly
Mike is that guy.
That's truly night and day. But just in terms of how effective he became when he got a little bit bigger
and a little pudgy.
Yeah. if you want to say that.
Yeah. I think someone on the timeline. I think it was.
I'm still trying to get in one of his cars, so I'm not gonna call him that.
Who, Navarrete or
no. Mikey. Mikey got some zippers.
Mikey's one of the best punchers pound for pound of his era. His power was freakish at that little frame.
Yeah.
And that big hook would come out. And
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He had great power.
Mike's also one of the best businessmen in the sport of boxing. Came there, earned the money, did things. I seen my boy on a yacht yesterday in the video with some girl.
Trying to get on the yacht too.
Yeah,
It's a
there
shame.
you go. Take me.
It's a shame we didn't see him and Lomachenko mix it up when they were.
Man.
Oh man.
Dang, we missed the moment.
That was 50-50.
Hey, I mean, Shawn always say once a guy goes up, he can't go back down. Is Navarrete disciplined enough to go back down to 130?
I think he can. Based on it looked like there was 5 pounds to lose on that frame.
His question is he disciplined though? Disciplined enough?
Well, that's on him. I would think that that's in his character. He's a warrior from Mexico he certainly doesn't lack character in the ring. Even last night, he tried to empty the clip in the championship rounds and pull it out on an awful night. I would like to think he does. That he can do that.
Yeah.
And it also, man, you mentioned Mikey, Eric El Terrible Morales. He was a little bit like this, the closest thing to Morales in this era because he's this tall guy who could get down to 22, get down to 26, get down to 30. And when Morales fought Zahir Rahim at lightweight, you probably remember that fight, right? No, so he fights Zahir Rahim. He's bloated and just sluggish, and he winds up getting blown out by Zahir Rahim. And so he needs to get back down to 130 and maybe fight Foster.
Foster streaking too. That's a tough night for. See, this was a tough night, and it was. Do you agree that these were like mimicking styles?
Not as much. I felt like go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Again, that's why I felt like it was more what Navarrete wasn't capable of at the weight. No offense to Berinchyk. Like, he did his thing. He continued the spree of the Ukrainian dominance now.
Oh, man,
like,
congratulations to the
yes.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
And he won the fight. It wasn't in spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
He won the fight. But I didn't see, he's not a Lomachenko or a Usyk or even Vazdik. He didn't have the constant feint, the constant bend, the constant side to side. He was a little bit more basic compared to those guys, but still got the job done because he was a natural lightweight. Navarrete was sluggish. When Navarrete did connect, he was big enough to hold up to it, unlike smaller guys. And he really won that fight with his lead hand. He didn't sit down on the brick very often. He just touched him with the lead hand, taking advantage of him opening up fat with shots, and just touched him enough with the lead hand. That short right hook, it was almost like a half jab, half hook.
Yeah.
And he won the fight.
Hey, did you guys notice when, I hate to be that guy, but I felt like he got hurt a lot by Navarrete to the body, a couple shots, but he was smart enough as soon as he got hurt, hold on, grab. What did it take, about 5-10 seconds to get over something like that, Shawn?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Maybe between 3 to 10 seconds.
Okay,
yeah.
you need that moment.
Sometimes you need the moment. Sometimes
smart
it's
fighter.
just a matter of getting your breath back,
Okay.
Yeah, it takes a lot of breath out of you. That's why we always talk about putting in the deposits in the bank. It's almost like your wind is up here, and the more you get punched to the body, it's like just like in the video games, you know how the
stamina meter.
Yeah, the stamina meter will go back up, and then it only goes up there. So
What if Navarrete stays at 135 but get low as he can, 132, just to kind of get in shape for the fight? Would that help?
that could make sense. Nobody does that, but that makes sense.
Nobody does it.
Nobody does
because they don't have to.
Nobody's-
But if you really serious about this game,
It makes
shit
all
like
the
that you
sense in
got to
the
do,
world.
man.
I can't make 130. I can't kill myself to make 130, but I can work hard to get to 132.
Be in tip-top shape at 135.
Yeah, it's like though, if you have your favorite snack in the cabinet,
Man.
You gotta be this way.
if you got two boxes,
like us.
you're gonna
Can't
eat
be
two
like
boxes. You got
us.
three
Can't be
boxes
like-
of it, you're gonna eat 3 boxes of it. Like if you give a fighter, this is how much I could come in at, they're gonna get very close to the limit.
Well, listen, not like catch weights. He's fighting at 135, I did this. This is what my dad and I did. We were fighting at 154, but we were still coming in trying to get to 47. We were still coming in at 150. We were still coming in at 149. We were working our way down, And I always said this about fighting at 147, even though I felt like it cut into my muscle and took away the power that I had at 154, 165, the list goes on. I also felt like I was at tip-top condition that I could possibly be at 147. And that's what I feel like you're saying about him coming down to 131, 132. You're tip-top.
Yeah.
Opposed to
little sluggish.
leaving at 35 right there, and then you eating up to 140 maybe. You eating up to 142, 43 maybe. Now you eating up, go down to 32. Now you eating up to 138. You know, and it just makes sense. But fighters don't do that.
Well,
that make a lot of sense though.
Maybe it could work because one thing he did carry up to was his power. I know, and Berinchyk was able to hold up to it, but part of it was when he pulled the trigger, he was so slow he couldn't bust them up with the same number of clean shots that he's normally able to do.
Yeah.
But I was ringside. He could still punch at lightweight. He carried the power up. Yeah.
What's this thing with falling into the ropes? I feel like you lose points just off of that, bro. Like, I'm like, you fought like a Shawn Porter, he gaining points just because he like goes all back into the ropes. What's that about?
Well,
That's always been.
That's part of his effectiveness, though. Is that chin's in the air? It's so daring. Take a swing. That chin's in the air, but this guy can punch out of that angle with his feet crossed and his chin in the air back. Bam!
That's when I said it was mimicking styles. That's what Navarrete does. He punches on all these.
Oh, that's what I thought he was talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
But the guy, he was doing the same thing though. He was punching on like angles that apparently Navarrete is not used to seeing come at him. You know,
Ukrainian style.
Yeah. So I felt like he was punching on different angles and bringing the back foot forward and a lot like Navarrete does and things like that. And, to me, it just seemed like he got a taste of his own medicine last night. It was a close fight, but I had Berinchyk winning the fight too.
Got a taste of his own awkward medicine.
Yeah.
Just in a different
Just in like a different package. Yeah.
It's just he actually keeps his hands up, so it didn't,
it
look as awkward as what Navarrete does.
Yeah.